And Your Honor, I just want to put it on the record that she's scheduled to do inpatient treatment for about 4 months on beginning 9/5 at Aspire. I'm sorry, 9/8 at Aspire.
Okay.
And she's to speak with mental health court for screening on 9/5.
Okay. Well, then she's probably going to need to see Dr. Duros before then. Okay.
We're doing the best we
No, I understand. And then we'll address it back on September 9th or 29th, okay?
can. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have, Mayor. Stand down.
Yep. All right, you can go ahead and go on.
Calling case number 2022 CF 5258, State of Florida versus Lawrence, Dority State.
Michael Smith for the state.
Defense.
Deon Thompson on behalf of Mr. Dority.
All right, I'll note Mr. Doherty is present as well. We're set for sentencing today. Any legal reason why we can't proceed?
Your Honor, the state has 2 witnesses that would like to speak for the court.
I understand, but is there any legal reason why we
Your
can't?
Honor.
Okay. All right. And this was a jury verdict. Jury did come back with a guilty verdict as charged for second-degree murder with the possession, discharge, and death resulting from the use of a firearm. Pre-sentence investigation was ordered. The court has reviewed the pre-sentence investigation, and the court has reviewed a sentencing memorandum that was filed by defense counsel, I think, a day or 2 ago. So with that said, we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Thompson.
Yes, Your Honor, I do
Presentation that you want to present on behalf of your client.
Yes, Your Honor, I do have some witnesses I would like to call. Is it, please the court, may I call Ms. Tatiana Mesa?
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Please tell me swear. Innocently shot here. Shall be the truth, no truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, have a seat for me, ma'am. And go ahead and state your full name and spell your first and last name for me.
My full name is Tatiana Mesa. My first name, you said spell?
Yep.
Tatiana. Last name Mesa, Mesa.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Mesa.
Good morning.
What is your relationship to Mr. Dority?
Mr. Lawrence is my fiance.
You obviously know why you're here today for sentencing. Is this something you would like the court to know?
Yes.
You can proceed.
I wrote something. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your Honor, Lawrence is not just a defendant in this courtroom. He is the head of our household. He's the provider for our family. He's a man who leads our home with love and guidance. He's the father that every child deserves. His children need him, not just to survive, but to grow up knowing what it means to be loved, to be guided, and to be protected. Without him, they risk growing up searching for guidance in places that may not always be good. And no sentence to take away their right to a father who gives his last for them, who puts love above everything, and even turns cooking into a moment of joy so that his children know that fun and love live in the heart of our home. Lawrence's character goes beyond our family. Even our home is open. He's provided meals shelter for anyone. Our home is just open to anyone. Lawrence has never turned anyone away. He's always stopped what he's doing to be there for others. Your Honor, I also want to acknowledge the family who has suffered in the loss of the situation. My heart goes out to them. I can't imagine the pain and I have deep remorse why we're all here today under these circumstances. I say this with respect. Nothing I share is to dismiss the grief, but only to show you the man that Lawrence truly is. Your Honor, I ask you to see Lawrence the way we see him, as a man with a future worth saving and not erasing. To give him more than the minimum would not just punish him, but would punish his children, his family, and many people who rely on his goodness. For their sake and the sake of the community that sees him as a leader, I just would like to respectfully ask for your mercy. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Smith?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, Your Honor. The next witness I would like to call is Ms. Demetria Dority.
Okay.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony shall give, shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, ma'am, go ahead and state your full name and spell your first and last name for me.
Demetria Dority, Dimitria Dority.
Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Dority. What is your relationship to Mr. Lawrence Dority?
He's my son.
Is it something you would like the court to know prior to sentencing? It's your opportunity to let the court know.
I just want to say that I know my child, I raised him, and I know he would never do anything out of maliciousness. I know his heart. I know that he loves hard, and in order for Lawrence I know he feared, and that's the only reason he was in fear of his life, and I know that for a fact, because I know he would not hurt anyone. I know that deep in my heart, he loves his family, he loves his friends. All of his friends showed up for him today. He is a good person, and it's a tragic situation. I feel really bad for the family that this happened to. And I feel bad for our family. It's a bad situation all the way around. I could not imagine this would be happening in any of our lives. All of these families were close. And it's just tragic. And I just ask for mercy. Just mercy for Lawrence. I'm heartbroken. Everyone's heartbroken. Just, that's all I have.
Any questions, Mr. Smith?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, Mr. Havion Dority would like to be heard in regards to this.
Okay.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony shall give, shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, have a seat for me. And go ahead and state your full name and spell your first and last name for me, okay?
Adreian Dority, Adreian Alexander Dority, Hayyan Dority.
Good morning, Javion. How you doing?
Good, how are you today?
Mr. Dority, Lawrence Dority, your father.
Yes, sir.
Is there something you would like to say on behalf of your father?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Today I would like to speak on behalf of my father. I ask that you are able to was truly right. He has 3 children that do truly need him. Over the years, I have been blessed with the opportunity to have my father with me. And over the years, I have learned many things through him. Whatever he wants to do, he makes it happen, no matter what it is. And I have learned that he is a loving person. Has never, ever, throughout the years that I've known him, been a violent person. He's caring. My father has taught me many things and many things. Every time I've had an idea, he spoke to me. He has told me ways that I can improve myself. He introduced me to new things, whether it's cooking, art, music, sports. I consider my father as my mentor, my coach, and my best friend. I do not know who I am without my father, and never once a day have I ever gone without my father. Whether he had to go to work, he would take me. In these past few weeks at home, I feel that it has not been the same at all. Something is missing. But as we coming home from school, he was there to say, "How are you, son? How was your day? What did you learn today?" Dear Judge, I hope you find it in your heart to give him the minimum that there is. Thank you.
You can step down.
The next and the last witness, Your Honor, is Mr. Carl Davis.
Do solemnly swear or affirm testimony shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
State your full name and spell your first and last name.
Carl Davis. Carldavis.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
You may.
And Mr. Davis, what is your relationship to Mr. Lawrence Dority?
Well, I'm Lawrence's godfather.
Okay.
Me and his father, we grew up in Claremont, Florida together. Little young boys playing on clay dirt roads and didn't have any passageway to go, didn't know what to do. So we joined the military. We all retired military, and Lawrence, I was there in the hospital when he was a little baby, and he's been raised by leaders. He's been raised by leaders, but I don't know what happened. And to the family that this happened to, well, both sides of the family, I'm so gracefully sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'm asking the courts to have leniency on him. And I'm asking the family to have leniency as well. And there's nothing we could do to change anything. We just have to leave it in the hands of the Lord. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And may I be heard briefly, Your Honor? I don't know if you prefer me to talk a little bit now or after.
No, that's fine.
Just speaking on behalf of my client, Judge, I understand that you oftentimes have cases and it could be a very difficult decision for you to determine when to be heavy-handed or when to be merciful. But, Your Honor, I would submit to you, this is one of those cases where it's worthy of your consideration to just issue the minimum mandatory, which is 25 years, followed by whatever term of probation that you find to be suitable. Even the pre-sentence report, it appears that the Office of Parole and Probation was amenable to the same, in that the probation officer who drafted the pre-sentence investigative report stated that they're suggesting a sentence that's in alignment with the sentencing guidelines followed by probation. as I read that, it gave me a logical deduction that this is an expiration date on his sentence, not a life sentence, but something that's in alignment with the sentencing guidelines. Also, as I looked at the score sheet, it appeared that what Lawrence scored out to was less than the minimum mandatory. So, although your hands are bound by the minimum mandatory in this situation, I'm asking the court to consider just the minimum mandatory in this situation, because it's going to be a substantial hardship to the family of my client, and not to be insensitive to the victim's family. That's not my intent, and I apologize if at any moment during the trial or in the scope of my representation of my client, if I gave you the impression that I was insensitive for the facts of this case. Your Honor, even grass grows. You know, my client is 31 years old. He's a father of 3, and not just a father, but an active father. And although the jury has issued a verdict, you know, we respect the verdict. We may not have to necessarily agree with it, but we respect it. And Your Honor, the facts of this case is very difficult. Some people argue that so many other things could have happened. You know, if you're looking back at the facts of the case, and some people playing Monday morning quarterback, looking at the things that could have been done or should have been done. You know, nobody's perfect. You know, under those circumstances, it was just a tragedy. You know, my client was friends with Tara Walker. It appears that they have been best friends for over 14, 15 years at the time of this incident. You know. Both families are suffering and will continue to suffer. I do believe my client would like to say something as well. I don't want to step on his toes, but I just felt like it was a moment that I needed to ask the court to have some mercy and grace. You know. You can't undo what happened. This is not one of those situations where my client just came to a person and pulled a firearm out and created a scenario. You know, one could argue that he was wrong, but at that moment he felt like he was justified under the circumstance. Why? He felt fair. He was afraid, you know. Can't undo what happened, Your Honor, but we can ask that if you would give him an opportunity to redeem himself. He's somebody that is amenable to being redeemed, and he could redeem himself and show the community. He could be a true story to convey to people in the community about how to be a better judgment of your decisions, to make better decisions, to try to walk in a different path, to try to avoid conflict resolution. Sometimes, unfortunately, the best teacher is experience. You know, Mr. Dority, prior to this situation, Your Honor, he was very, very optimistic in his future. He had 3 different certifications. Essentially, he was a barber. He also had a certification to do tattoos. He has a certification to prepare food as a chef. He was literally an entrepreneur in 3 different areas. You know, he's not the type of person that would rely on handouts or ask people for help. He'll try to do it himself. You know, he's a very compassionate person. A lot of people in the community, a lot of people know him. Everybody's just as shocked about the circumstances of what happened, not just the verdict, just the situation, to hear that he was even involved in a situation, because that's not his character. He was not known for violence. He wasn't known to go around and create hostility. Mr. Dority has been a father for a long time. He's just 31 years old, but he has a 14-year-old son. He has an 8-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old daughter. The community stands to gain any time a family can remain intact, understanding that your sentence will require some separation But, Your Honor, 25 years minimum mandatory that you're obligated on the law to issue, I believe is sufficient enough. It does not, to pretty much be a just punishment in this case without giving more than is necessary or required. It's enough to provide retribution to the victim's family. And I say this without being insensitive. I understand that it's a life that was taken. It's enough to provide deterrence to the public. When people to hear about a sentence of 25 years, that's a deterrent, Your Honor. It's enough to also allow Mr. Dority to rehabilitate, to learn more about himself, learn more about faith and how to be a better person, conflict resolution, things of that nature. He poses a low risk of recidivism, Your Honor. He didn't have a lengthy criminal history. And after you hear from my client today, you will hear his remorse. You can obviously see the extreme family and community support that he has. And we're not downplaying the significance of this type of offense. And at this moment, Your Honor, I would step aside and allow my client to be heard briefly. Thank you.
You don't swear. All right, Mr. Dority, this is your opportunity to tell me what you want me to know for purposes of sentencing. So if you'd like to make a statement, you're willing to do so, you can at this time. Okay?
Thank you. My name is Lawrence Alexander Dority. I'm 31 years old. I have 3 loving, beautiful children. And I first would like to say my heart goes out to the family. And I cannot imagine what you have gone through. I've never in my mind thought I would be here today seeking mercy upon the court for my life. I've never been a violent person or sought after trouble. I've always considered myself a good citizen and a man of God. I have always been a proud Florida citizen my entire life. Since my son was born, I've always instilled in him be a man with integrity and be a man with honor. I was raised in a tight-knit family, a military family with strong values of protecting each other and standing for what we believe in. And Your Honor, that night I did not go out looking for trouble, but trouble found me. I found myself scared, not for just my life, but the life of 3 generations of the Dority family, my son, myself, and my father. I deeply remorse what happened that night in the bottom of my heart. The media portrayed me as a violent person, but that is not the truth. Tara, you were me and Tatiana's best friend. And I still love you. I still pray for you. Nobody deserves to be in this situation. So here I am on August 29, 2025, 2 days before my son turns 14, begging for your mercy, Judge. Please take into consideration my background and the facts. I did not wake up that morning with intent to harm anybody. Even that night, I had no intent to harm anybody. I had no intentions on killing anybody, or let alone shooting another father. Judge Steinem, please imagine how scared any person could be in a situation like that. And I do have plans for my future, and I will continue to be a positive figure for my community. Judge Steinen, please understand, by giving me a long sentence does nothing but negatively impact more lives. It is a generational curse that will be bestowed upon my family, and I promise you that I will be as perfect could be. I promise you that I will continue to be a positive mentor for my community. I promise you that you will never hear anything negative of my name again. I promise you that I will strive to be a law-abiding citizen. Please consider my words, and I promise you I will make everybody proud. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Thompson, anything further?
Just briefly, in addition to the term of incarceration, Your Honor, I also think it's important to note that just being adjudicated for a felony also carries along the collateral consequences that are ongoing and continuous, such as being unable to qualify for certain housing opportunities or government aid, not being able to vote or sit on a jury, not even been able to qualify for life insurance. In certain instances, I've actually been aware that that's something that companies are not willing to assure people with criminal history, and that believing that there's so much of a higher risk or something of that sort. But of course, job opportunities and things like that of such. So, Your Honor, it will be an ongoing sentence, no matter how we look at it, you know. So we're just asking you to consider that, have some mercy, and not to render a heavy-handed sentence under the circumstances of this case. My client did not have intentions to kill. It was a tragic accident that occurred. And he's accepting responsibility and remorseful of the situation. It's essentially an offense that occurred in an unsophisticated manner, an isolated incident upon which he's shown some remorse. You know, some could even argue that the victim may have been involved, not to provoke it, but at least was a participant in the situation that led to it. However the court would perceive it and how the jury saw it, we're here now. And, Your Honor, the minimum mandatory is enough to provide respect for the law. We're asking that you consider that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Your Honor, at this time, the state would call Antoine Payne.
Please tell me sorry for messing with shot with the truth, tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, have a seat for me, sir. Go ahead and state your full name and spell your first and last name for me.
My name is Antoine Payne. It's Antiwanpayne.
All right. Sir.
All right. Your Honor, my name is Antoine Payne. I'm the brother of Adreian Payne. My brother was only 31 years old when his life was taken in this senseless act of violence by this murderous person. I stand here today not only as his brother, but as a voice for the entire family, especially for his sons who are now forced to grow up without their father. Adreian wasn't just my brother. He was my inspiration. He was my friend. He was a man that I looked up to. But more than anything, he was a father. He loved his sons with his whole heart, and they were his world. He wanted nothing more than to raise them into strong, respectful young men and successful young men. He was present in their lives, teaching them, guiding them, showing them what love and discipline and dedication really looked like. We all watched how hard my brother not only worked on the court, but off of it. We witnessed his determination, his grind, and his sacrifices he made to become the man and the father he was. Adreian inspired so many, but for us, his family, we felt the love, we saw the pain, he pushed through, and we knew the effort it took. He was building a future for his sons and his family, and everything he did was for them. Now they have to grow up without him. He won't be here to teach them how to throw a ball and how to navigate life or how to be men. He'll miss their birthdays, their graduations, their biggest moments, and most of all, the heartbreakingest thing of all, he never got the chance to meet his youngest son, who was born after his death. The kind of loss can't be measured. Adrian's legacy will live on through his sons and through the people he inspired and through the love he gave so freely. The holes in his absence has left. His sons will still ask why. Why isn't my father here? Why was he taken from them? And there are no good answers. Your Honor, I ask that you take from this man what he has taken from our family. Though it will never bring my brother back, he should never be free to take another father or son or brother or another nephew from their loved ones. I ask that you give him the maximum sentence and he never be free to do this heinous things again. He made that choice and it caused irreversible harm, so he must be held fully accountable for it. Thank you for allowing me to speak on my brother's behalf and his sons and the family, Your Honor.
The state calls Tara Walker.
You told me story of this one was shot here, shot there.
All right, have a seat. State your full name and spell your first and last name for me.
It's Tara Walker, Tarawalker.
All right, you may proceed.
Sorry, I'm nervous. I want to show you who you took. I want to show you who's growing up without a father. That's Armani. He's 3 now. He doesn't know his dad because of you. I'm here today as the girlfriend and, more importantly, the mother of Adreian Payne's child. On the night of May 9th, not only did you, Lawrence Dority, take Adreian from us, you took away any future we were supposed to have. You stole the man who was supposed to guide our son through life, the man who was supposed to be there for his first steps, his birthday, his first day of school, his graduations, and every special moment in between. Our son will never know what it feels like to run into his daddy's arms after a big game or to hear his voice cheering from him from the stands. That was stolen from him, and it can never be replaced. Because of you, Lawrence, my son has to grow up without his father. He will never know what it's like to have a father-son conversation as you and Havian have. He will never be able to talk to his father and ask for advice. He will never experience unconditional love as you have for your 3 children. All of that has been ripped away because of your senseless actions. My son is only 3 years old. He's far too young to understand what happened and why Daddy is never coming home. He asks me all the time, can we go visit his dad in heaven? What do you say to that? How do you explain that someone took your dad from the child? How do I tell him? My son will grow up without any real memories of Adreian. He only has pictures and the stories of his legacy online. I hope that you relive May 9th for the rest of your life. I relive it every night. Every time I close my eyes and every time I look at my son, I see what you took from us. On that night at 1:30 in the morning, you decided to become the judge, the jury, and the executioner. It's not fair that you get to live, even if it's behind those brick walls. Adreian is gone, Lawrence. He's buried 6 feet under. He was 31 years old, the same age you are today. For that, may God forgive you, because I cannot. No sentence will bring him back, we know that. But what you decide today, Your Honor, that matters. This senseless act of violence, it deserves the harshest punishment that the law will allow. Anything less would be dishonorable to Adrian's life. You took a child's father for no real reason. I ask you with everything in me to hold this person accountable to the fullest extent of the law. His child deserves that much. Adrian's memory deserves that much. Justice deserves that much. And Lawrence, may you never forget this. You didn't just take a life. You broke a family. You destroyed a child. You took so much more than you'll ever know. In the words of Adreian, basketball will forever be my heart, but my kids are my beat. And for that, Adreian will live forever through them. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, anything further?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, by returning a verdict of guilty for second-degree murder with a firearm in this case, the jury rejected that this was a case of stand your ground or self-defense. They also rejected that this was a manslaughter and found instead that the defendant acted with a depraved mind under the law. Now, the family, as you've heard today, would like to see a life sentence, and that's justified. This defendant took someone away that can never be brought back. A father to children, obviously a son, a boyfriend, a friend, a brother. And what sticks out to me in this case is in the video that you hear that the jury heard in this case, he had an opportunity not to do this. He was warned by Tara Walker, who just spoke to the court, don't do this, don't take your gun out. This wasn't a spontaneous thing that happened. This took time. He went and retrieved the gun, and then even in that moment before, if he'd have made a different decision to not pull the trigger, nobody would be here today. But he did make that decision. So I understand the statements by Mr. Dority and by his family, but ultimately what he's taken away and what he chose to take away cannot be given back. And so the state believes that life in prison is appropriate. Thank you.
All right, both parties have reviewed the PSI? Yes, Your Honor. Any additions or corrections or objections to it?
No, Your Honor.
None from the state.
There was an amended one filed. It was a correction in regards to the minimum mandatory, I believe, that may have been a correction.
Right, that was the one that was filed on the 28th.
And Judge, if I can approach with the score sheet.
Have you seen the score sheet?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's been reviewed by your client?
You haven't seen it? No.
Let him take a look at it. What's the time? 83? All right, Mr. Doherty, you've had an opportunity to review the score sheet with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
All the information on the score sheet is accurate?
Yes, sir.
Any restitution?
No, Your Honor.
Any cost of investigation?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Doherty, or Mr. Thompson, you were privately retained?
Yes, Your
All right. Court did sit through the entire trial in this case, is aware of what the facts were that came out during the course of the trial. I've considered the pre-sentence investigation, the score sheet in this matter. I've considered the sentencing memorandum that's been filed by the defense, and I've considered the presentation of the witnesses and the arguments of the attorneys here today. Given all of that, I'm going to impose the following sentence. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense, sentence you to life in the Florida Department of Corrections with a life minimum mandatory for possession, discharge, and death of the alleged victim in this case with a firearm. You have 83 days credit time served towards that sentence. I'll impose court costs, cost of prosecution fee. Those costs will be reduced to a final judgment. Any other questions or concerns? All right, sir, you have the right to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court. If you wish to do so, it has to be done in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney for the purpose of an appeal, one could be appointed for you. We'll be in recess.